Hi, my name is Heidi Hill, and this presentation will be on policy and law in healthcare. The role of health policy and the law in today's society. Policy and law are all around us. It affects every part of our lives in our careers, our free time, in our automobiles, our healthcare system, and much more. Policy and law in healthcare are very important so that we can regulate and monitor patients, service providers, quality of service, types of service, etc. In today's society, health policies and laws have become very detailed and complex in order to cover and oversee a multitude of topics. Continuing on, when we look at policy and law in healthcare, there are several views that we can study, as Walensky and Teitelbaum have pointed out in our textbook. The first area includes healthcare, public health, and bioethics. The second area is historical, social, political, and economic perspectives. And the third area is perspectives of stakeholders, which includes individuals, healthcare professionals, governments, insurance companies, and more. Policy and law are important in healthcare because of the many areas that are involved. Health can include things like food service, physician services, hospitals, communicable disease in the public sector, immunization, drug and alcohol consumption, smoking, public and private spaces as they relate to safety and health issues, outdoor health of humans, education on health topics, and more. Health policies also direct what is unhealthy for us, what children should not be exposed to, what materials should not be used in construction, and what level of chemicals are safe for us. Problems with policy and law can be wide-ranging, depending on who you are, along with your religious views, political affiliation, personal opinions and experiences, what group you may represent, and other factors. There can be many potential problems with policy and law. Some think there are too many policies and laws in general, and that people should be left to make their own decisions. However, there are some who think policies and laws are the only way to protect citizens from certain health hazards, because we know of dangers with things such as cigarettes, alcohol, and certain drugs. Another potential problem with policies and laws is that it seems to be only government and big corporations making policies or decisions about policies. There are many disparities in healthcare that can include quality of care and access to care for everyone. There are also new public health issues that come to light and must be appropriately addressed by business and government. Some policies seem to encompass more action than some people may deem appropriate. For instance, with some policies and laws, there's language that people don't understand, and there can be additions to laws that are buried in the language in a law that is trying to be passed that is hundreds of pages long. Some may not know what they are voting for because they don't have all the information they need, and that can be difficult. It can be difficult for those who aren't involved in policy-making decisions to understand what a policy is for and why it is being enacted. One example of this are mask mandates and the policies that were put in place during the COVID pandemic. There are people who agree that the policies are important for us and should be in place, and there are those who see it as an infringement on their rights. Some have claimed a healthcare exemption, others religious exemption. These problems can go on and on. It is a matter of personal opinion, and it will probably still continue to be up to debate for a long time. Another issue during this time is COVID vaccination policies. This affects private and public employers and employees. This is a hot button issue. It will continue to be a hot button issue. One thing to point out is that the U.S. Supreme Court did overturn President Biden's vaccination bill. So we will have to see what happens going forward. I know that on the news it's reported on almost every day that they're still trying to work with the court systems in order to have this enacted. Some companies have still chosen to have a vaccination policy, and people's employment does depend upon that or having a valid religious or healthcare exemption. Why is policymaking needed? Policies must be able to cover individual consumers as well as communities for the health and safety of the public at large. Policies cover a huge array of topics that address many public as well as individual health issues, life events, health emergencies, chronic disease, public health concerns, environmental issues, foodborne illnesses, and so much more are regulated and monitored with the specific rules in place for the protection of the population. Some policies don't have to be permanent, but long enough to address a specific situation that they were created for. In conclusion, healthcare policy and healthcare law are important parts to overall success of the healthcare industry. Policies and laws are created for the safety and well-being of the general public, as well as practitioners, adults, children, various socioeconomic groups, along with different health conditions that may or may not be concerns in some parts of the country. We can support policies and laws by educating ourselves about them and finding out how we can have a voice in their creation. Romans 13:1 states, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established." God is guiding health policies and laws through his people, as is his will. God bless and thank you for watching.